I will now call this council meeting to order on December 3rd, 2025 at 5 p.m. And I will turn to our clerk, Carly Craig, to read the territorial acknowledgement. Well, you're getting that then. I'm just going to go online and make sure that both Kathy and Ryan can hear us.
I can barely hear you. Try again and I'll see.
Okay. I think staff are making some changes here. Kathy, can you hear us at all?
I can't hear Carly, but I believe that's because she hasn't started yet.
No, she hasn't started yet. She's looking her stuff up, so I thought I would check and make sure that you could hear me online.
Yes.
I have my sound right up and I can barely hear you. You're less than a whisper. So I don't know, maybe that's my end, is it?
Kathy, is it fairly loud for you?
Yeah, everything is fine.
Okay, thank you. And who's the other person on there? Ah, okay. Over to you, Carly.
Thank you. So in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge with respect the history and living culture of the Anishinaabeg, the people of the Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi Nation, who have inhabited this land from time immemorial. We recognize that these lands are the territories of the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, collectively known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the keepers of this land. Georgian Bluffs is located on lands encompassed by treaties 45.5, 67, 72, 82, and 93. We reflect on our role as treaty people and the need to live in respect and peace, and show respect to the First Peoples who inhabit these lands and these waters. Just a bit of a personal reflection, if I could. As the year comes to an end and we reflect on our accomplishments as a township in 2025, it is important that we reflect not only on the wonderful things we have accomplished, but what more we can do to advance truth and reconciliation efforts. This year, the Grey Bruce OPP Detachment Board held their inaugural meeting, and through partnerships with the OPP, the ministry, and band councils representing their communities, we have an opportunity to build a meaningful connection and potential to demonstrate meaningful progress on calls to actions by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Calls to action such as number 55 call upon all levels of government to provide meaningful data to report on progress towards reconciliation and demonstrating equity for Indigenous peoples in the legal system. The new board and its legislation, with a focus on effective community policing, establishes a new connection and opportunity to be a partner of communities who acknowledge the legacy of residential schools and the impact on criminal victimization rates and overrepresentation of Indigenous peoples in the justice system. While new and continuing to develop, this partnership is a positive change with meaningful potential.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Are there any urgent additions to the agenda? The recommendation is that the order of business be amended to consider report CAO 2025-034 Sarawak and Kemble Playground Design Engagement Results following presentation under item 8.1.1, and that the published addendum to the agenda to add an additional closed session item for matters before the Ontario Land Tribunal be approved, and that the agenda be approved as amended. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor McComb, Deputy Mayor Pringle. Is there any discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? Kathy, I'm not seeing you at all, so I don't know if you're voting.
Oh, that's odd. My camera is on and I voted in the affirmative on that particular motion. So I'm Is there a reason why?
Now we've got it. Okay, sorry. Now you're up. Staff just made a change there. Thank you. Okay, glad I checked. Does any member wish to, oh, sorry, and that carried. Does any member wish to declare a pecuniary interest? Seeing none, you may declare at any time throughout the meeting if one should arise. Minutes of previous meetings, the recommendation is that the minutes contained herein be approved. And that is for 5.1.1, November 12th, 2025 council, and 5.2.1, special council of November 14th. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters? Councillor McComb? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That has carried. Does any member wish to make announcements? I have a few here to make. An item, CAO, I'll go to you first. I see your hand is up.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm sorry that I'm not in chambers tonight. I'm keeping my sickness away from everyone else, and I've given it to everyone in my house and any houses that I've visited in the last few days. But that's not the announcement that I interrupted to make. I just want to draw council's attention to our new deputy CAO and director of corporate services. But what I mean is the Brittany's replacement while she's off growing her family, and that's Courtney McDonald. And I do see her in the crowd. I just wanted to draw special attention to that and say that we're really happy to have Courtney to try and backfill the very big shoes that that Brittany leaves when she's going to be gone from us for a year. And just to give an update, that Courtney comes to us with lots of municipal administration horsepower with experience in Guelph as a manager in their transit system, and also with stops and experience in risk and procurement and HR services and a bit of economic development. So we're really happy to have Courtney to help us when Brittany's gone. So I just wanted to make that announcement, and thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you, and welcome Courtney in this new position. The items that I have, this came out of the Owen Sound Current this morning. It's local climate stories wanted, and it says, as Grey Roots Museum prepares to host Wild Weather, a traveling exhibit arriving in May 2026, the Georgian Bluffs Climate Action Team is collaborating with museum staff to add a local perspective. They're asking residents, farmers, and business owners across Grey County to share personal stories of how changing weather patterns have affected their lives, work, and land. So that will be an exhibit to look forward to. And I am once again impressed by our local climate action team and the work that they do in our community. So thanks to them for helping with this. I would also note, for anyone who has not got their calendar yet, that the Georgian Bluffs calendars are available for residents to pick up anywhere bag tags are sold. And I think they're also available at community centers. And I think everybody in council has one on their desk here tonight as well. Last night at the inaugural county council meeting for 2026, Andrea Matrosovs, who is the mayor of Blue Mountains and past warden of Grey County, was acclaimed for another term at the beginning of this term as warden for the county and for another year. Events coming up this weekend are Shallow Lake Mingle and Jingle, Saturday at Allen's Mercantile starting at 6 p.m. And Cobble Beach has a tree lighting taking place Saturday night, the 6th of December as well. And starting December 14th at the Shallow Lake Community Center, there will be Sunday afternoon skating from 12 to 1:30, and that is $3 per person. I think that's everything I've got for tonight. Does anyone else have anything to add? Okay. Public hearings, we have none. For public participation, delegations on agenda items, any person who wishes to appear before council regarding an item on the agenda must register with the clerk's office. To register, you can complete the online delegation form at www.georgianbluffs.ca/delegations. Call the clerk's office at 519-376-2729, extension 603, or register in council chambers with the clerk prior to the meeting start time of 5 p.m. And first delegation we have is 8.1.1, Brittany Drury, Deputy CAO, Director of Corporate Services / Brad Smith with SDG Landscape Architects. And I will turn it over to you, Brittany.
Thank you.
Before you start, I'm assuming those who are online should be able to see this. Can I just double check and make sure that they can actually see it now that we can't see them?
I can see it.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Carlton, and through you. We're here this evening to consider and get council's feedback on the parks improvement projects that were budgeted for in 2025. And as a reminder, those are the spaces in Kemble and Sarawak. So we're not asking for a decision from council this evening. We're simply asking for your feedback on the proposed designs and allowing you the opportunity to view and consider the feedback that we've gathered from the community thus far. The next slide, please. So as I mentioned, both sites are in Sarawak and Kemble. So that's Sarawak Family Park and Kemble Athletic Playfields or athletic fields. Those are the two sites that are proposed for the parks development and the parks improvements. In 2025, council budgeted a total of $1.1 million to complete both projects. So that is a combined budget of both projects. Now, as you will recall, and as we greatly celebrated, the township was successful in our CSRAF grant funding application, and that will fund 50% of those total costs. So that's $550,000. So that makes the township's contribution exactly that as well. So 50% of 1.1 million, we're only funding 550,000. The remainder is the CSRAF funding that we've been successful in getting from the province. So both designs for both sites have been shared with the community thus far. There's been a couple iterations that we've tweaked here and there depending on what the community has provided to us. The designs that you'll see tonight still require some tweaking based on your feedback and the community feedback we've gathered to date. Those final designs will come back to you next year, early next year, through a formal RFT process when you award construction for both sites. Now, with that being said, before we even get into the designs, I wanted to note that both of the designs and all the designs you'll see this evening have been created in compliance with the AODA, that's the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, and Annex H of the Canadian Standard for Safety of Public Use Playground Equipment. So they have been fully designed to incorporate accessible playing principles. And overall, prior to even considering some of the feedback, the community feedback has been very positive and very enthusiastic. The communities are very excited to see these two playgrounds come to fruition. Next slide, please. So a little bit of how we got here. We have been active in getting community feedback over the course of the summer and fall months. That included an in-person event at the Longest Day of Play. That was attended by over 200 people, and we gathered just as much feedback from all of the people that attended, both on the Kemble site and the Sarawak site. So we had both designs available and ready for public commentary during the course of that day. I did share and have met with the interested user groups for both sites to propose the designs and gather their feedback. And again, that's why you'll see multiple iterations. And then most importantly and most fulsomely, we did an online engagement forum over the course of September and October that was hosted via Engage GB. And it was very much just an open feedback space. It wasn't a vote for which design you prefer. It was a give us your honest feedback. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the colors?
etc. And as you'll note in front of you, there 43 responses were collected during the online engagement forum. So that's a total between both engagement sites. Next slide, please. The part that I wanted to really highlight on this section was the reach. So we reached almost 22,000 people for both of the projects. So that means they interacted with or viewed the sites over the course of September and October. So that's just the online portion. While we only had 43 submissions, we did get the message out there to a lot more people than the 43 that actually participated in the survey. And you'll note on the right-hand side, the in-person participation is much higher because we did have those on-site, in-person feedback consultations at the longest day of play event. Next slide, please. Before we get into the actual submissions and the comments we received, I always like to provide a commentary about this is not a statistically valid survey. We did not undertake a statistically valid survey. So those that participated in the feedback had to actively choose to participate in the feedback. So with that in mind, next slide, please. And I am very pregnant, so I'm running out of breath. So again, tonight we're here to consider both playground designs and the feedback that we received. For the Kemble playground, you'll note that there's two concepts. The first proposes to relocate the existing equipment at Sarawak Family Park to the Kemble athletic fields. Concept two is a brand new playground structure. Now, the only downfall of playground two, well, not the only downfall, but the most significant downfall of concept two is that there's not any budget for a swing set. And we did hear throughout the consultation that a swing set was a big want of that community. And as a mom of a 3-year-old, I can completely understand why. And concept two does also come at a higher budget cost than concept one, being the relocation of the equipment that the township already has. And with this, the Sarawak Family Park, there's only one design that you'll see this evening. It is a large space, and it is a large improvement to the space, and it focuses heavily on accessibility. Given the investments that this township has made at that site, we are looking to keep increasing the overall accessibility of that site, including a fully rubberized playground surface and multiple access points for users of all abilities. Next slide, please. So first up is our Kemble playground designs. So both playground structures will take the same layout. And I can appreciate this is likely difficult to see. It has been appended to the staff report that's in your agenda this evening. So you'll note kind of in the top right-hand corner is the cluster where the playground equipment will go, followed by a fulsome trail system that will kind of cover the entirety of the now vacant space. There is a smaller trail system that kind of meanders through the trees there, and we're also including a parking space, a parking lot that doesn't currently exist there. So that's also an addition. Next slide, please. So this is concept one. I can appreciate that it's not as fancy as the other concepts that will be considered this evening, but it's something that we pulled together with the design team of our consultants. So you'll note that that is the current Sarawak equipment that we are proposing to move to that space with the addition of the swing set. The swing set will be the same as the Sarawak Park design that we'll consider next. And the most important part about concept one is it is on budget. There's no additional overages that will be seen in moving forward with concept one. Next slide, please. Concept two, as I mentioned, it's a new playground structure. It is missing that swing set piece that concept one has, but it still has the same accessibility features that concept one includes as well. This one does come at a more significant cost. It's $20,000 over budget. The community did not support concept two. They largely supported concept one. I'll get into that in a minute. Next slide, please. So overall, what did we hear? So overall, the feedback for the Kemble project period is positive. The young families of Campbell are very excited to have a local community, both play space and gathering space. And again, as I mentioned, the majority of comments are in favor of concept one, that budget is, so that budget will be maintained with the addition of the swing set. There's a lot of praise received for the sustainable approach that we've recommended, being relocating the existing equipment and keeping that plastic out of local landfills. And there's an emphasis placed on wanting to maintain safety, maintenance, and accessibility in the space. And the most common words we saw throughout these submissions were reuse, safe, and design. So well in line with the themes of the space. And next slide, please. And with that, we'll move to Sarawak. I can appreciate this. This is not a very good photo up on the screen, but this is the overall layout of the site. You'll note that the parking lot is not included. That is included within the scope of this improvement. So the parking lot as well as the trailways leading down to the beach are also included in the scope. And next slide, please. So these are just some kind of high-level ideas, the high-level designs as to what we're envisioning for this space. And you'll note that it is a fully accessible play area with rubberized surfacing on the ground, with a fully accessible trailway link to the surfaced area of the playground. And we're also undertaking an exciting project as part of this the improvements, and we're working with an Indigenous artist to incorporate Indigenous art into the rubberized surface as a mechanism of truth and reconciliation. So that's something really exciting that we're doing. Next slide, please. Just a different view, and next slide. And another view because I think the swing set's really cool. And what did we hear about Sarawak? So again, highly positive, really enthusiastic. It was really nice to see, as you know, receiving those comments that everyone's very enthusiastic about the project that this council is undertaking. The design most specifically has been praised for its accessible features. Again, just honing in on that fully accessible piece of that space. And I will note that there's a very over-communicated desire to reuse the existing equipment at Sarawak in a different space, just to be environmentally sustainable as well as fiscally responsible, not just disregard of that equipment, but make a new use for it. And a lot of the feedback did also comment on the colors. I'm sure you noted while you were going through those comments. So we have asked our design team to take another crack at the colors and make it a more nature-focused, earth tone-inspired park rather than the vibrant purple and turquoise colors. And again, our most common words used in the submissions were accessible, fantastic, and inclusive. Next slide, please. And with that, I know I've kind of gone over over this already, but we're here tonight to welcome feedback on all of the designs. You know, if you aren't big fans of the color either, now would be the time to tell me, and we'll take back your feedback, formalize the designs, formalize the specs, and bring them back to council. It is still our goal, and we are still on our project timeline to have the construction start in the spring. That will happen by, again, a formal RFT process that council will award in the new year. And we are aiming to have construction concluded in the fall. And that's everything I have.
Thank you very much. I will turn to council for any comments. Councillor Day.
I have 3 and they're completely unrelated, so I think I'll need to ask them all at one time. First, I was curious about the 22,000 interactions. That's really wonderful to hear that many people interacted with the information that was available. That's I don't know that I've seen a number that high in my term on council. Do you have a sense of why that is? I have a guess, but I don't like making assumptions. Is it more the topic as opposed to the methodology of seeking feedback from the community? Or did you change the methodology in some way that is more effective and could be applied to other topics which are potentially less exciting sounding to the community?
I would say we had not changed the methodology other than being in person and on site at that event, touching and interacting with, you know, a wide array of interested individuals. I mean, everyone that was at the Longest Day of Play generally does have a young family that makes use of those spaces. So I think it was effective to be there in person and communicate and give them the opportunity to see the designs in person. But otherwise, the methodology remained the same. We did use all of our normal channels of communication to notify the public of this opportunity.
So perhaps when we can piggybacking on events that are happening, which sounds like a great strategy moving forward. I remember in one of our previous conversations about playgrounds, we talked a lot about the surface of the ground and looked at I believe it was wood chips and how those are less user-friendly for folks in wheelchairs, and rubberized surfaces are much more user-friendly. But also, I can't remember the longevity, but I seem to remember the longevity of rubberized surfaces was shorter than other surfaces. So I just needed a reminder of how long this is expected to last and when the municipality should be prepared to replace or repair.
You are correct in that the rubberized surface does not last as long as the engineered wood fiber. So as a reminder, we are proposing engineered wood fiber in Kemble and the rubberized surface in Sarawak. And that the rubberized surface is expensive, just given the materials it's made out of, the effort that's put in installing it. But not only that, I'll probably defer to the screen or the face in the screen that you see in front of me. So with me today, we have Brad Smith. He's our landscape architect on this project. And Brad, I'm wondering if you can comment on the lifespan of rubberized surfacing in playgrounds.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, everyone. In past projects, the company we've used for rubber generally warranties rubber for, I'd have to double check, but I think it lasts for, if installed correctly, it can last for close to 10 years. It lasts a lot longer than we think, or than you might think. But it depends on the use of the playground as well. High use areas tend to wear a little bit faster, but Sarawak here, I think, lasts a long time. I'd have to confirm it exactly. I don't know off the top of my head.
Thank you. That confirms what I thought I remembered from a past meeting. And should I keep going? Okay.
Finish yours and then we'll go to Councillor Coburn.
Thank you. I almost didn't ask this question, but then I noticed the last slide in the presentation was the Oxenden Indigenous Art Project with A.G. Jack the Crane presented. And I think through the verbal presentation as opposed to the written report, it sounds like an artist has already been selected. So my question may not be relevant at this point in time, but I was wondering about the selection process for the artist or the artwork, and if consideration was made to give some decision making to the Asagino Ojibwe Nation. For that A.G. Jack in Oxenden, many of us who sat on the committee did not select the artwork. The people who selected the artwork were the chief and a youth representative and Indigenous members of Oxenden. So that subcommittee was primarily Indigenous. So I just wondered if that could be taken as an opportunity to further reconciliation in the future.
Absolutely. And I will say, when approaching that idea, we did interact with both local Indigenous communities. So we by no means selected the art or had any ability to or any input in the designing of the art. There was some design constraints from just a sheer pouring, but how do we get the design onto the rubberized surface? So while the design started maybe more complex than it actually landed upon, we by no means designed it. We worked with the local Indigenous communities to come up with a design concept that Brad and his team then took away to the materials provider to see what we could make work.
Thank you. I'm grateful to see that process taking place. If I may just make one final comment to support the option 1 with the reusable materials, that sounds like a wise decision that both staff and community are suggesting. Now I got.
Okay, Counselor Coburn, we'll go to you next.
Thank you. I'm going to take us back a few steps, if I may. I'm curious to know why this topic has been brought to us in the form of a presentation under delegation. This feels like a staff report to me. And when it gets added to an agenda last minute like this, I feel as though we are lacking in some transparency to the public. So I'm not feeling especially keen on where this has been placed on the agenda, but I was hoping perhaps to ask our CAO and perhaps our mayor as to why staff are presenting as part of a delegation as opposed to providing a staff report. And then I have a couple of other questions as well.
Okay, I'll go to the deputy CAO here.
Thank you, Mayor Galton, and through you, I can answer that question. Councillor Coburn, the shift in the agenda business was simply to accommodate Mr. Smith, our consultant, who was here to answer any questions of council. Simply that. Otherwise, it could have been a staff report. We were just amending the order of business to ensure that Mr. Smith was here to answer any of the questions that honestly I couldn't.
Thank you. I guess I'm still confused. I'm going to let it go, but
Okay, well, the clerk just put her hand up, so perhaps she can answer.
It doesn't seem like we were adjusting the order of business, but rather adding this on after the fact. But if I am wrong, please feel free to correct me.
Clerk.
For you, Madam Mayor, it is a staff report that's listed under 1.2 information reports. It is report number CAO 2025-034, which is agenda item 11.23. So it has been presented as a staff report, but a presentation has accompanied a delegation to allow the consultant and Brittany to present the detailed designs.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's always difficult when we change the order of the agenda because folks who may be tuning in later on to hear a discussion miss out. In fact, that happened to me at a recent county council meeting where the order was changed and then I wasn't able to get there in time as anticipated. So I appreciate that Mr. Smith is here and we're accommodating that. I can also appreciate where folks who might want to be tuning in might feel that they've been perhaps led astray a little bit. If I may, I know, Ryan, did you want to respond or shall I move on to my questions and comments?
CAO, you had your hand up. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, so I don't, I guess my question would be more about the placement of the report. So Councillor Coburn, are you concerned that people are going to show up for the meeting later and will miss the chance to hear the report?
Oh, possibly. I mean, that's always a possibility. Perhaps no one will show up. But as I say, this happened to me at a county meeting just a few weeks ago when it got juggled around to accommodate folks, and some of us who had planned to come later then missed out. So it doesn't need to take up any more airtime. I just wanted to make that point if that's okay. If it's all right, I'll just move on. I would echo Councillor Day's remarks about reusing equipment. I think that's the responsible thing to do as long as it's in safe condition. That seems like a responsible act on our part. I'm wondering, we can always build onto the playground after we assess the usage of the playground over time. And this is the one at Kemble. I'm still unconvinced that we'll see the number of users that perhaps we expect to see in this playground. So I want us to take a cautious and fiscal approach to this, if that's at all possible. I did ask the question about rubber flooring a couple of years ago, and I was told by staff that this surface, while it's more accessible, and that's very, very important, it also won't last and is too costly, and that's why we didn't put it at Sarawak in the first place. So it's curious to me that we're going back to that, and I think that the value in it adding to accessibility outweighs perhaps the cost and the longevity. In terms of the colors, I suspect there are reasons why children's playground equipment is made in bright, vibrant colors. I don't know that we ought to be veering from that. It's kids are drawn to primary colors. It catches the eye as people drive by. I don't know if there are any safety concerns that have to do with bright colors, but that would be interesting to know a little bit more about that as well. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Pringle.
Thanks, Mayor Carlton. I just want to commend staff and the consultant and the community for being engaged in this project. It's nice to hear that we're having some results from the community about having this go the direction it is. I'm 100% behind reusing what we got, which is also a great feature. Color schemes to me don't mean anything. I'm old, I don't care. So whatever the kids like, they can have those colors. One question I do have for Brad on longevity of the used equipment going to Kemble. Do you have a number in your head or approximate lifespan of that particular equipment going to Kemble?
That's a good question. I do not. I know it was installed in 2010, I believe. So it's still relatively young in terms of play equipment. Play equipment should be recertified every 5 years or so. So I think it will, in my professional opinion, it will last a long time. When it's moved, it has to be recertified. But I'm confident it's not, we've moved equipment before that's been over 25 years old that playground companies won't recertify. So I'm confident that the playground at Sarawak is young enough that it will be recertified with no concerns. And then it's just a matter of the continuous upkeep by the township to ensure we get the longest lifespan out of it that we can.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Right.
Yeah, I too was worried about the longevity of the rubber. Just it's our climate, right? It's not a faulty product. It's just an awful climate. So that concern did come to mind. I love the idea of reusing equipment. It sounds great. I believe you said that in Sarawak some would be displaced, and but the hope was to somehow incorporate it down the road, or did I misunderstand that?
So that through you, Mayor Carlton, we are proposing to use the entirety of the playground equipment to relocate to Kemble.
Oh, right on. Cool.
Yeah, we're just adding on to the equipment in Kemble, being the addition of that swing set.
Perfect. Excellent. And I too back up there needing to be a swing set. So too many parks that don't have a swing set. Kids need to fall off of those things. Yeah, for sure.
And again, I would echo everybody else's comments. I think it's a great process. I think it speaks well moving forward with the community. I'm glad to hear that there's some art added to the rubberized surface. When I first looked at that, I see black rubber and I'm concerned about heat. And that's the first thing I looked at. So I'm hoping with the addition of some artwork or whatever, it would alleviate some of the heat concerns.
I would comment, I did see the concept design for that rubber with the actual artwork put on it when at the longest day of play, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So I think it'll be a hit with kids. I agree with Councillor Coburn. I think those bright colors are what the kids are going to want to see. I think it's mom and dad answered the survey and didn't like to see those bright colors. I think the kids will like it. The one comment I would have at Kemble, and maybe I just miss seeing it, would be some added picnic tables and such to have out there. How difficult would that be to let families show up and have a picnic?
And through you, Chair Carlton, that has been included in the scope, additional picnic benches along the loop.
I did see the benches. It was picnic tables for...
As well as the shade structures. They'll be built along the path as well.
And the only other comment I had was about the swing. So I saw one in Harrison Park where the parent sat on the swing and the child was in a piece in front of them. So as they swung back and forth, the child is looking at the parent. And if we could incorporate something like that, I think would be awesome, because it just, instead of the kids sitting there looking away, they're looking at the parent. So that's my own comment. So excellent.
Thank you, everyone.
And thank you, Brad, for being on with us this evening.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks to everyone. Thanks for allowing it to be bumped up to accommodate my schedule.
Okay, thank you. And moving on, we have Tim Lanthier with Grace Sawville Conservation Authority for item 9.1.4, Grace Sawville Conservation Authority CAA changes and consolidation. And please come to the podium. Tim, I'm assuming you're here to make some comments about this. And thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Walking through you, I just wanted to flag that report CAO 2025-034 was separated from the information consent. And so council will need to pass a resolution to receive that report for information.
So will we do that now? Because
Yeah,
we
just,
have a mover and a seconder in that one?
no.
Okay, I guess I was thinking it would show up further down in our agenda and we would do that then.
Through you, Mayor Carlton, as we've amended the order of business to bring it up to the delegation, now would be appropriate to have that resolution to receive it for information.
Okay, so I should have that resolution to read here.
Through you, Mayor Carlton, it was included in the information reports, which was one motion, so the recommendation would be that that report CAO 2025-034, Sarawak and Kemble Playground Design Engagement results be received for information.
Okay, can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor McComb, Councillor Winters. There's no further discussion. I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. My apologies, Mr. Lanthier, while we get things together here the way we're supposed to have it.
So, I thought I was going to be here this evening just to answer any questions that council may have. I have been going around to councils and providing a presentation, so I guess at your pleasure, Madam Mayor, if you could let me know what council would like to see or do tonight, I can accommodate accordingly.
Okay, I will turn to council then for comments and questions.
So if I may, Councillor Day and I are both board members at the Conservation Authority. And what's come to light is very recently the province has made amendments to the Conservation Authority Act. And what they want to do is amalgamate 36 existing conservation authorities into 7. The local conservation authority that we are a part of would then stretch from Port Franks up until Lakehead, I believe. If all my data is correct, that's going to increase our current conservation area from 3,200 square kilometers to 23,500 square kilometers. What the concern is like the province doing that, they're going to create an agency which will then monitor and regulate the 7 conservation authorities that are created. The agency then has the ability to proportion costs back down to the conservation authorities, which is going to increase our levies without control of the municipalities. You're going to lose local control. You're going to increase bureaucracy. So huge concerns coming forward. And what the panic is in trying to have this conversation tonight is there is a posting on the ERO until the 22nd of December. And I think it's important that council understands that and we can get comments in, and that the public also understands that they're able to log in and provide comments. And I'm going to, Tim probably won't mention it, but one of the conversations we had at a board meeting last week was that even if you don't like the Conservation Authority, your dislike will get even more if it continues going where it is. So it's important to have to say, I've had issues with them in the past. I don't believe, this is a good thing. This is not a good thing. This is losing local control. This is increasing levies for municipalities. As Tim said last week, all of us sitting at a board level, chances are none of us will be sitting at the new board. When you represent from Port Franks to Lakehead, however that management structure looks, the local influence there is going to be gone.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor Day.
I'd like to provide support for Councillor Winter's comments, maybe with the exception of calling Thunder Bay Lakehead or the Lakehead. It's been a while since I've heard that name and use, but I know exactly why you said that. I just wanted to add a few more points as well. We go from one of 8 member municipalities to one of 80 member municipalities, and that's a sizable change in the number of people and councils being represented. And some of those cities are Newmarket and Barrie, so they would have a higher, they would have to, CAO, Lantier will be able to do this better than I, but they will have a higher assessment rate and perhaps a higher voice depending on how the board system is set up in the future, which has yet to be determined. There are also other possibilities. The suggestions have been made to standardize permitting across the province for conservation authorities. There are concerns as well around rural municipalities, again, to go back to that idea that Newmarket and Barrie would be within our conservation authority, and looking at perspectives around fields and agriculture may be less of a priority for those urban areas. And as a final point, I know that there's support around our horseshoe for amalgamation, and I don't feel necessarily educated enough at this point in time to speak firmly about amalgamation, but what I will, and it's costs and benefits, but what I will say is there's been very little information provided in terms of a cost benefit analysis to this particular amalgamation. And more time should be, I believe more time should be put to that type of research and communication before making a very quick move to consolidating the conservation authorities. I would like to, if it's okay with our mayor and council, offer CAO Lantier a moment to comment as well, if there's some things that he perceives from the staff perspective at conservation authorities that we've missed in our dialogue tonight so far.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. And I would say Councillor Winters and Councillor Day have done a stellar job of providing this information, and also in a very succinct manner. So yes, what you're hearing tonight is my understanding of the situation as well. So we're looking at conservation authorities currently being local entities. So we're not a creature of the province. We were created by municipalities at the behest of municipalities. What the province brought to the table was the tool to do it. In 1946, they created the Conservation Authorities Act, which provided municipalities the tool to move forward with an agency that crosses municipal boundaries and provides watershed management. They also came to the table back then with 50% of the funding. So when we look at the funding model today, in Grey Sauble anyway, Grey Sauble provides about 49% of the funding of our budget through self-generated revenues. Our municipal partners bring 44% of the budget forward. The province brings about 6 or 7% forward, and the majority of that is source water protection, which also covers Saugeen Valley and North Bruce Peninsula. So it's not isolated to Grey Sauble. We just happen to be the ones running the program. So what we're looking at from the province in terms of partnership in a current scenario is a $37,000 input into a $4.2 million budget. So really it's a partnership between municipalities and conservation authorities. The drivers that we're seeing or hearing from the province for why we should move to an amalgamated or a consolidated model is that it reduces the number of municipalities that share borders with conservation authorities. Now, there are 36 conservation authorities in Ontario. There are 444 municipalities. So I would argue that maybe the number of conservation authorities isn't the driving force behind the number of borders that are shared. But if you look at upper tiers, counties, there are about 30 counties throughout Ontario. And that's not including the single tier municipalities, but so it's a comparable number. What we're hearing from the province, so is that's one of the drivers. The other is to streamline and improve efficiencies around planning and permitting to get houses in the ground faster. And that's commendable. I think it's important. I think we can work with the province to make that happen. I do not believe that conservation authorities are the roadblock that's stopping development from getting in the ground. I think there are a lot of market conditions out there right now that are a much bigger issue, and that's why builders are not building even once they have approvals in a lot of cases. But that aside, I think we can work with the province, and we want to work with the province. But I think right now, looking at consolidation, no feasibility assessment has been provided. No cost benefit analysis has been provided. No real strong rationale has been provided. We don't know what governance model is going to look like. We don't know what an enforcement model is going to look like. What we do know, as Councillor Winters said, is there's been a newly created agency under Bill 68, which received royal assent on Thursday. that agency has the ability in legislation to apportion their costs to the conservation authorities. Conservation authorities already have the ability to apportion their costs to the municipalities. So that should be read very clearly, as this new agency has the ability to apportion its cost to municipalities. So without seeing the rationale, true, honest rationale for why to do this, we at a conservation authority level can't support it. But we do see lots of opportunities, like I said, for working with the province. What I'm primarily concerned about, and what we're talking to our municipal councils about, is something that councillors have mentioned, is we're going from an area of 3,200 square kilometers of Grey Sauble to 23,000 square kilometers, so larger than the country of Belize, 4 times the size of PEI, just to provide some perspective there. And going from 8-member municipalities with an 11-member board, so very well represented, good democracy, to an 80-member municipalities. You cannot have an 80-member board. You couldn't function. So you have to have some subsets of that to have representation at that board. But as Councillor Day mentioned, according to the supplemental information that the province has provided on which municipalities would fall within our region, there is the City of Barrie, the City of Newmarket, the City of Aurora, the City of Richmond Hill, the City of Thunder Bay. So I become very concerned about what level of voice our rural communities continue to have on this grander scale. And so what I'm coming to councils for is not to tell you how to think about this one way or the other, but to present you with the information to make sure that you're making educated decisions and to make sure that you're aware and this doesn't get swept under the rug. Unfortunately, it's come forward in the form of an omnibus bill, and it's not the only omnibus bill to come forward at the same time. There are other very important social issues being talked about right now, and we want to make sure that this item is also being talked about so that you understand the potential implications before you make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, I note that the clerk forwarded a letter to us with a recommendation in it. I'm looking to council to see if everybody got a chance to read that this afternoon. And does council want to go ahead with support of that?
I would move that we go ahead in support of that. I wonder if we need to read the text aloud and offer the chance to make amendments to council should there be variations in wording that council would prefer over what is provided here, because the letter itself was not included on the agenda.
That's right. Yeah, and I have no problem reading it all out. I just wanted to be sure that that's the direction council wanted to go first. So if I don't get through this, it's going over you.
It's a little one.
It is. Whereas the Conservation Authorities Act enables municipalities to establish local conservation authorities, and when municipalities choose to form such authorities, they assume responsibility for governance and funding through the appointment of a board of directors and the provision of an annual levy to cover expenses. And whereas the municipalities within Grey and Bruce counties established the North Grey Region Conservation Authority in 1957 and the Sauble Valley Conservation Authority in 1958, which amalgamated into the Grey Sauble Conservation Authority, GSCA, in 1985. And whereas local municipalities currently provide approximately 44% of total GSCA funding, while the province of Ontario provides approximately 7%, and whereas municipalities have governed their respective conservation authorities for decades, tailoring programs and services to local watershed needs, maintaining accountable service standards, and ensuring fair and predictable costs for ratepayers. And whereas conservation authorities collectively own and manage thousands of hectares of land, much of which was donated or sold by local residents and entrusted to conservation authorities as a personal legacy for long-term protection, stewardship, and the public good, with the expectation that such lands would be cared for by locally governed conservation authorities. And whereas Bill 68, Schedule 3, proposes the creation of the Ontario Provincial Conservation Agency, whose objects include overseeing conservation authorities and the transition to a regional watershed-based framework for conservation authorities in Ontario, with municipal cost contribution yet to be defined, And whereas the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks has posted Environmental Registry Notice number 025-1257, proposed boundaries for the regional consolidation of Ontario's conservation authorities, proposing to reduce Ontario's 36 conservation authorities to 7 regional entities as part of a broader restructuring. And whereas under this proposal, the Grey Saba Conservation Authority, GSCA, would be consolidated into a new Huron Superior Regional Conservation Authority that is over 23,000 square kilometers in size and consists of 80 municipalities. And whereas the province already has the authority to establish overarching legislation, regulations, and standards through the Conservation Authorities Act and the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks to address issues related to permitting by establishing guidance, online permitting platforms, and technical standards through legislation that could help build homes. And whereas the GSCA has already undertaken significant modernization work aligned with provincial objectives, including information technology, information management, and leveraging technology to streamline planning and permit review processes, processing 100% of major permits within the provincial timelines in 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the municipality of the Township of Georgian Bluffs calls on the Government of Ontario to maintain local, independent, municipally governed, watershed-based conservation authorities to ensure strong local representation in decisions related to municipal levies, community-focused service delivery, and the protection and management of conservation lands, and that the municipality of the Township of Georgian Bluffs does not support the proposed Huron Superior Regional Conservation Authority boundary configuration outlined in Environmental Registry Notice 025-1257, as the proposal lacks sufficient justification, would significantly diminish local governance, and fails to recognize the effectiveness and efficiencies already achieved within existing watershed-based models, and that the municipality of the Township of Georgian Bluffs affirms that large-scale regional consolidation is unnecessary, would introduce substantial transition costs, and would divert resources away from frontline watershed programs. The Council further asserts that restructuring at this scale would erode local decision-making, weaken municipal accountability, and disrupt long-standing community partnerships that are central to delivering responsive watershed management, and that while the municipality of the Township of Georgian Bluffs supports provincial goals for consistent permit approval processes, shared services, and digital modernization, imposing a new top-down approach structure without strong local accountability and governance risks creating unnecessary cost, red tape, and bureaucracy, thereby undermining efficiency and responsiveness to local community needs, and that the municipality of the Township of Georgian Bluffs urges the province to strengthen centralized standards, resources, and tools rather than undertaking broad structural amalgamation, and to provide sustainable, predictable provincial funding across conservation authorities to enable local CAs to advance ongoing digitization and systemization work that has already resulted in improved efficiency and consistency in recent years, and that the municipality of the Township of Georgian Bluffs believes that the province's proposed new online permitting portal can be implemented within the existing Conservation Authority framework without requiring structural amalgamation, and that the municipality of the Township of Georgian Bluffs requests that the ministry engage meaningfully and collaboratively with affected municipalities, conservation authorities, and local First Nations before advancing any consolidation to ensure that any changes reflect both local needs and the practical realities of implementation, and that this resolution be included in the municipality's ERO response and forwarded to the Premier of Ontario, the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, all of Ontario's municipalities, MPPs, conservation authorities, AMO, and Conservation Ontario. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters and Councillor Day. Any further discussion? Councillor Day, did you have comments or changes you
No,
wanted?
I just wanted to make sure the opportunity was there should somebody wish to
Good, thank you.
amend the law.
I will say, I looked at this earlier on and scrutinized it greatly, thinking exactly that, thinking that I probably couldn't get behind every single word and comma. And yet I think it's really, really well written. I think that it's fair and balanced, and that it's supportive of the Ontario government and the initiatives that we all stand behind, and yet still represents us really well. So I got to say, I'm really happy to, really happy to support this.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, I will call the vote. All in favor? That has carried. Thank you, Tim, very much for forwarding that to us this afternoon so that we could act on it.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your support in this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking to the clerk. Do we need anything further on that item? Okay. So consent agenda. Does any member wish to pull items from the consent agenda? I think we actually just did.
I was gonna pull that one, but we've already beat that
We've
one.
already, I know, kind of jumped the gun.
But the other one I was gonna want to talk about is 9.3.5.
Okay. Anyone else?
I would like to pull 9.1.2, please.
I made a note to myself earlier today of what I wanted to pull. No? I think that's got both of them covered. Okay, so. Sorry, did you have more than one or just?
Councillor Winters pulled the other one that I was considering.
Okay, so the recommendation is that Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs adopt the consent agenda for information as circulated, less items 9.1.2, 9.3.5, and should I add the 9.1.4 for Grace Hobble? Okay, so just 9.1.2 and 9.3.5. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Day. If there's any further discussion, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. I will go to you first, Councillor Day, on 9.1.2.
Perfect, thank you so much. There's just a very specific request in here that I wanted to give the staff a chance to comment on in terms of its feasibility regarding getting back to a constituent by Wednesday, December 31st, and having a report on the first committee of the whole. If that is a feasible request that staff can meet, or when that staff will require further time, and we can just be open and clear and make sure that the person who sent the letter will have the information.
Thank you for that. Who on staff is going to take that one? CAO, go ahead.
Sure, I can take that. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you to the councillor. The letter does speak to a specific timeline, and some of the ability for us to meet that deadline is not within our control. So what we're still waiting on some information. If we get that information within a time frame, we will be able to meet that deadline. But I'm hesitant to say yes, we can for sure, because it's not within our control.
Great, thank you. I wasn't expecting a lot here, but just wanted to make sure that that is communicated clearly. Thank you.
Okay,
Totally understand. Fair enough.
Councillor Coburn.
Thank you, and that was one I had intended to raise as well, so I'm glad Councillor Day did. So some things are out of our control and we're still waiting for information, but is it reasonable to expect some kind of response back to this resident so that at least we're acknowledging that, and that we are working towards some kind of response? He references feeling stalled, and I just wonder if some correspondence to that effect is appropriate. And I would just ask that of our CAO.
I think that it's safe to say that the ratepayer knows the information that we're waiting for, and knows that I think the expectation is, or I can certainly commit to this, when we get the information that we're missing, then we'll go ahead with the report. But until then, we can't proceed. But yes, the ratepayer is aware of that.
Okay. Thank you for that. So we simply need a motion on that one to receive that for information. Could I have a mover and seconder? Councillor Day, Councillor McComb. Any further discussion? We'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And Councillor Winters, 9.3.5.
Thank you. And again, we've touched upon this in the past, but I think this speaks volumes for the town of Blue Mountains to send this out, suggesting that the 8 member municipalities in Grey County all kind of support working together to find a solution to industrial, commercial recycling as the province is changing the rules effective January 1st, 2026. I know the county over the past years has talked about it. It's been a brief conversation, but really hasn't gone anywhere. And I think throwing our support behind Blue Mountains and maybe reaching out to the county saying that George Bluff should be interested would be my recommendations. I think collectively, if we all work together, we might find a solution to this problem that's been created.
Thank you for that. I'm going to turn to Deputy Mayor. You're on the Joint Services Committee.
Yeah, I can speak to that. So yeah, so that's come back to the joint municipality working group that we have going. We've only had 2 meetings so far. We're a new group in the county level, so this would be a great spot for us to stand up with the municipality, joint municipalities, and I think it'd be a great project for us to look at. So I'd be willing to second that motion for the Councillor Winters. It's an initiative we should look at. Sure.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other discussion on this item? Okay, so we now have a mover and seconder, Councillor Winters and Deputy Mayor Pringle. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried then. Thank you. We are on to committee reports. Recommendation is that the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on November 19th, 2025 be adopted, including recommendations COW 2025-043, the COW 2025-049, and that all actions contained therein be approved. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle. Councillor McComb. Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Information reports. The recommendation is that all information reports contained herein be received. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn, Councillor Winters. Is there any discussion on any of those? Councillor Winters.
Just again, previous conversations, when staff had authored a report, I thought we were going to have a little bit of a staff would speak to each one of those reports, even give us a brief overview. I'd appreciate if we could do that.
Okay, so Samantha, I'll go to you first with the budget open house feedback.
Thank you, and through you. So on Tuesday, November 18th, we held our 2026 budget open house here in council chambers. It ran from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. The idea was to hopefully get some people that may be coming on their lunch and a bit of time for any who might be coming after. We did not have a large turnout to it. There was 3 people. They were all there within the first hour and a half. 2 of them, one is our regional representative for our CSRIF grant that we were successful in receiving. She happened to be in the area, so she was stopping in the budget open house to see what Georgian Bluffs was, where we are going, what we are doing. She also had a escort with her that was showing her around from the City of Allenstown. So that is 2 of our 3 people. And then the third was a resident who came in just asking a bit of general information and some implications that it might mean for their specific property.
Thank you. And next item is the annual accessibility update.
Thank you, Mayor Carlton, through you. So this is our annual accessibility update report, just reporting on the progress we've made in the current year on the adopted multi-year accessibility plan. So within here, we have achieved a couple items in 2025 worth noting. We did replace the website and refresh it. So we are now at an improved compliance rate, up from 70% to 97, well, basically 98%. And our check scores have improved pretty significantly as well. We are now passing at 46 out of 54 and 8 out of 12 at level A and level AA consecutively. So that's some really great news for those who are using our website. So we also made some significant progress on our online cemetery register. So the online cemetery register involves making public maps of our cemeteries that are interactive and accessible for public use. We have done a lot of data verification work and are currently working with the GIS mapping company. We have hit a few snags just with some inconsistencies with former maps that were developed and some plots that may or may not exist. But we're working through that with that company and hope to have that work available for the public for use partway through next year. So lots of progress being made there, but definitely work that's taken some time. So we also have made some progress in terms of our accessibility of council meetings. We have explored the eScribe live streaming add-on. So the current provider that we use for agenda publication and minute publication. So that live streaming add-on, some of you may recall, does timestamp individual items. So for anybody who's interested in a specific item, they can just click on that item and it will pop up the specific video on that specific agenda item. So there will be no more trying to fast forward and kind of listen in and try to figure out where in the meeting they should be listening in. So that is geared up and ready to go, and it should be live for our first meeting in January. So for design of public spaces as well, as council is aware, we replaced approximately 450 meters of existing and degraded sidewalks in the village of Shallow Lake along Allen Street, Lake Street, and Sir John's Crescent. So some great news there, and a couple pictures within that report just to demonstrate the work that was done. And that's basically the highlights for 2025. And there will be a more comprehensive report that comes forward next year, as it's kind of the middle year for the report. So just to say where we've been and where we're going.
Excellent, thank you. And last is the CAO 2025-035, closure of access road at lots 21 and 22.
Thank you, Mayor Carlton, and through you, I recognize this is not a lengthy report, this is quite short. In summary, the township is required to stop up and close an access road as part of legal requirements out of one of our past cases that has since come to conclusion, and this is just fulfilling our part of concluding that case. So as mentioned and as included on the agenda this evening, there is a bylaw to both stop up and close the road allowance, as well as enter into a formal access agreement with the individual property owner to maintain access over closed municipal road limits.
Thank you. Does anyone on council have questions? But okay, then I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Moving on to recommendation reports. 11.3.1 DV 2025-083 budget amendment Emery's Bridge structure S0003. Recommendation is that the staff report DV 2025-083 entitled Budget Amendment Emery's Bridge Structure S-003 be received, and that council approve a budget amendment for project 2025-01 replacement of Emery's Bridge Structure S-0003 to increase the project budget by $413,194.99 plus HST, with the funding to be transferred from Bridges Reserve. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle. Councillor Winters. Is there any discussion on this report? Councillor Day.
Due diligence, I feel like I should declare exclusionary interest. For the same reasons as always.
Okay, okay. I will leave it to you and the clerk to fill out the paperwork on that. So if there's no further discussion, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is replacement of Shallow Lake Community Center front door. The recommendation is that council approve the use of the upset limit of $25,000 from the Municipal Facilities and Fixtures Reserve for the replacement of the Shallow Lake Community Center front door. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Day, Councillor Coburn, and who is speaking to this one? Go ahead, Jared.
The main access, public access point in the community center is a double wide glass door currently. Due to damages in use over several years, one of the two doors is not damaged, beyond repair, and is bolted closed currently. With the one door bolted closed, we still meet access and capacity regulations for the facility, but it does create a bottleneck for access during busy times of the community center. Staff have obtained pricing from one vendor and are currently waiting on pricing from others. Staff are requesting to utilize, staff are recommending to replace the current double wide glass door with an auto opening closing sliding glass door. Staff are requesting to utilize an upset limit of $25,000 from the Municipal Facilities Fixtures Reserve to replace the door. I'm available for any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Combs.
So right now we have, two swinging doors, I guess, and one of them's broken. So one of them still swings and it works. And the sliding doors are going to be two doors that open up, or there's only one
It'll
side?
be a one wider type door. It's one pane of glass that goes across.
So it's double the width though, like it's going to get the same number of people in and out as fixing the broken door would?
Yeah, I don't have the dimensions of the door, so I can't comment correctly to that, but the opening will be wider than a single door. It may not be the complete width of both of the doors combined, but I can confirm that at a later date. It's very similar. I'm trying to think of a local version that I could say. Is the MacArthur Center in Owen Sound, does it have that?
Yeah, it has
It does.
double. Yeah, they
It's
open up.
double.
Yep.
We haven't
Pretty
gotten
sure
to
it's-
that fine of detail on whether it's a single pane or the double at this point. But it's a point well taken, and I'll confirm that width to ensure that it is at least the double wide width.
Do you know what the sort of what the lifespan of those looks like? As opposed to good old fashioned hinges that have been around for 1,000 years. I'm sure it's less than that, and that's not what I'm getting at. Like, are we good for 10 years or so with the sliding door?
I would hazard a guess, yes, but I'm not the sliding door aficionado, so I can't tell you on that. Sorry.
I would also comment there that I think the existing doors, it's been tried to repair that one to the point that it's no longer repairable. And it just reminds me of Friday night when we were there for Sparkle and Skate. The number of people trying to get in and out through that one door, and somebody always got left holding the door. So it makes sense to have that sliding door, and you don't have the kids then trying to grab a door with a big hockey bag in their hands as well. Deputy Mayor Pringle.
Yeah, no, quick comments on that, and thanks for the opportunity. It's nice to see this automated. We don't have to grab the door anymore. That's the big thing for me. Anybody that's in a wheelchair and accessibility issues, they don't have to worry about opening the door. They're just going to roll up to the door and it'll open. So it's a huge win, I believe, for us to have that happen at the Shell Lake Arena. But I did have a question, I guess. We do have another secondary set of doors when we come in though, right? Are we not? Am I thinking right or not?
Second set inside.
Inside, yeah. So is that something we would look at down the road? To have both being automated that direction? I know it costs money to do it, but you're still opening and closing another set of doors. So we're halfway there to make it accessible for those folks in the wheelchair, but you still got the other piece to look at down the road. But I'm still 100% in favor of the direction we're going.
Through you, Mayor Charlton, yeah, that would be the plan at this point in time, since we did not take this into consideration in the budget. We were only working with the one door that is an immediate need. We did speak to that, even with sliding doors. It is also recommended that we go to a point when you have a double scenario, you get an air curtain, what they call an air curtain as well, so you have blow that heat. I don't know if you ever noticed that in the past, when you go in through that door, you'll hit a wall of heat that is meant on purpose. That would come into play as well. But we did not feel that it was a point in time to go for both doors, because that should be maybe considered in an overall larger renovation project to the facility.
Nope, this was bringing that point forward that we're going in the right direction.
CAO Thompson.
Yeah, I'm happy to support our manager's report with some of the data. So the door is a double. What is existing there now is, for all intents and purposes, just two side-by-side man doors with the post in the middle and the interior door. So what is proposed is very similar to what you'd see if you're at the recreation center. That's true. It's two doors that slide in opposite direction and then leaves a gap of 5'1". So that accommodates the wider bags, kids rolling in. And our interior doors that we would consider with a future renovation, they can still be opened such that it doesn't have the middle bar in the middle. So during periods of time where there's high volume in and high volume out, those doors sort of remain open and actually will move people through quite quickly, because they'll be walking through two 6-foot doors 6-foot wide doors, as opposed to two man doors, if that makes sense. But yes, the opening stretches to 5'1" with the doors open.
Okay, thank you. There is no further questions or comments from council. I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is the tractor. Recommendation that council award the purchase of the following equipment and attachments to Roberts Farm Equipment. Replacement tractor for V234 for $41,201.57 plus HST, and replacement tractor for V251 for $121,729.32 plus HST, and replacement provisional item C rotary sweeper with water kit for $15,492 plus HST, and provisional item D 7 to 12 foot hydraulic snow wing snow pusher, $11,200 plus HST, and replacement provisional item F 84-inch 3-point hitch snow blower for $7,915 plus HST, and replacement provisional item G 84-inch 3-point hitch offset disc mower for $14,900 plus HST. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Winters, and Jerry, this must be back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. In early October, staff utilized the canoe procurement process to obtain pricing for replacement tractors and attachments for V234 and 251 that were previously approved by council for replacement. 3 vendors submitted pricing, with Roberts Farm Equipment being the overall low bid. Items tendered were a minimum 31 horsepower tractor to replace V234, which is utilized by the facilities group for maintenance and landscaping work at the Shell Lake Community Center and other park properties. Also tendered was a minimum horsepower, 75 horsepower tractor, along with attachments to replace V251 and its current attachments. There is one item of note that is not a replacement attachment, which is the hydraulic snowing snow pusher. Staff have requested this attachment to increase efficiency when plowing snow at the Shallow Lake Community Center, as well as Maplewood Crescent and Shallow Lake and the Shallow Lake Water Treatment Plant. Staff are requesting to utilize $212,437.89 plus HST to purchase the recommended equipment and attachments. And I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Deputy Mayor Pringle?
Yeah, no, just a comment. Thanks, Sherry, for all the hard work we've put you through on this here particular file here. And what I see here today, in my mind, suits what we needed and what we were asking at the time. So I just wanted to say thanks for the due diligence on your part and appreciate it.
I was just going to echo the same comments. I didn't know the deputy mayor was going to say that, but yeah, I appreciate that, Jerry. It looks like it meets all the needs of the municipality. It comes in under budget, and I think it's time to replace that stuff and work efficiently. So thank you.
And I would add my thanks to that as well. Thanks for your patience in working with us through this process. So if there's no further discussion, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. And moving on to water rate study, recommendation is that council award RFP 2025-09 to DFA Infrastructure International, Inc. for the water rate study and associated financial plan at a total price of $20,012.30, including HST and contingency. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mayor Pringle, Councilor Winters. And Samantha, are you speaking? Sorry.
Thank you. And through you, included in our 2025 budget was a water rate study and associated financial plan. This is a requirement under the Ontario Regulation 45307, the Safe Drinking Water Act. We issued a request for proposal on September 4th, which had a closing date of October 2nd, after which the 5 submissions that we had received were evaluated by a team of staff members. And staff are recommending to proceed with awarding the water rate study and associated financial plan to TFA Infrastructure International, Inc. They had the highest weighted score, including pricing. If we were to exclude pricing, they have the second highest technical alone score. They are the lowest of the submitters, so we are asking for contingency as well, recognizing that there was a large difference in pricing. Staff had reached out to the representative projects and references that they provided, of which those references just came back complimentary to the company.
Thank you. Any comments or discussion on this item? Councilor Winters.
If I may, I mean, I'm excited to see this, that we're actually doing it and moving forward and going to get an accurate representation of our water systems. But on the flip side of that, I think we're going to be surprised on the results that come out of this. It's going to be some hard decisions to make, but I think its timing is inevitable and we need to move forward with this. So I'm glad to see this here.
Thank you. So if there's no further comments, I will call the vote. All in favor? That has carried. Thank you. And if council would allow me, I think I'm going to hand this over to the deputy mayor to carry on the rest of this.
All right. Okay, so 11.3.5 COR 2025-051 procedure bylaw updates and combined committee of the whole and server or council structure. Recommendation reads that the updates to bylaw 2019-125 be approved and that bylaw to amend bylaw 2019-125 be presented for adoption. I need a mover and a seconder to put it on the floor. Councillor McComb, Councillor Day, and who am I looking for on up to Carly? You're on.
Thank you. For you, council will most likely recall the report I brought earlier in the year, just as an audit to our current meeting structure, being the separate committee of the whole and council meetings. Council did express significant support for that combined change. And so this report that's before you outlines some of the amendments that need to be made to the existing procedure bylaw to support this structure. Most of them are very minor in nature, including just changing some definitions to basically just align the fact that committee of the whole will not be separate and will be held within council. So there are a number of very small changes to definitions and some sections with minor amendments just to just wrap that up in a bow and make sure that there aren't any conflicting provisions within our procedure bylaw to allow us to proceed with this combined structure. Some of the more significant changes come from opportunities that are now presented within the combined structure, and with more predictability, we do have some opportunities in our public hearing and public planning processes to make some improvements there and make them more transparent and efficient. So one of the things that is contemplated in this report is that the procedure for public hearings be changed so that it differs from what we currently do with having a staff recommendation report at the public hearing. So we would recommend that the public hearing be held solely for public feedback only. There will not be a staff recommendation that comes forward then, just so that the staff report and recommendation that comes forward actually includes a response to the public feedback that was given and the council feedback that was given at the public hearing. So it does add an extra step, but under the new structure and with the predictability of having 2 council meetings a month, it's certainly something that we can accommodate and feel is a good change, both for council's decision-making process and for the public's comprehension and for transparency as well. So that is probably the most major change, aside from your agenda structure, which is now changing to incorporate both meeting structures into one. So I'm happy to take any questions that you may have or concerns with what's in front of you in terms of that, those proposed amendments. Sorry for the long-winded.
Well, good. Thanks, Carly. No, any questions from council? Yes, Councilor Day.
Just one quick clarifying question, and thank you for your consideration and thoughtfulness regarding these changes to the procedure. I just wanted to maybe highlight to the public, it says in the report that section 22 and 24 should be amended to require that correspondence and public participation be received 10 days in advance of the meeting. That is for items that are not on the agenda, but people can still speak to items that are on the agenda after the agenda has been posted. There is a separate place for them still to come in and speak to something on the agenda.
Right, Carly.
Thank you, through you. So yes, it is true that nothing has changed from the delegation standpoint. The 10-day in advance actually relates to any presentation. So anything more substantial that has a council ask and isn't related to an item that's on the published agenda. So there's that. And then also items of correspondence, we're asking that they be provided to us 10 days in advance, just because we're hoping to give council a couple more days with the agenda, given the new structure, and just to increase that time for us. And so it's not so much of a crunch when we're trying to put the agenda together to get items of correspondence and to arrange delegations to come forward. So as you said, there will be no change to anyone's ability to register for delegations for items on the agenda. That'll still be 5 p.m. right before the meeting starts. So nothing has changed in that respect. Just anything they would like included on the agenda needs to be 10 days in advance.
Perfect. Yeah, Mayor Carlton.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you for that, Councillor Day. That was one of my questions as well. The other item that I question is under consent agenda, item 23.3. And the reason I question there, that goes back, I think, to a time when any correspondence received was sent by email to all of council and separate from an actual meeting. And we were then to forward to the clerk if we wanted that on an agenda. we've changed that and put everything into consent agenda that we would pull. So I'm wondering if that 23.3 A and B is maybe, and C actually, maybe no longer needs to be in there.
I'm happy to have a look at that and make some of those tweaks.
Yeah, it just reads that all of those will be compiled together and sent out to all of council. And then if we want something on an agenda, we used to have to forward it then to the clerk to have it included. But we now have everything being included already on the consent agenda.
Thank you, through you. Yes, that is, that's actually a process that I changed when I became clerk informally, so I apologize that may be a redundancy.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions from council? Oh,
Councilor Coburn.
Councilor Coburn.
Thank you, Chair Pringle. Through you to our clerk. Item 24.5 speaks to all items of correspondence being placed on the consent agenda, with the exception of anonymous correspondence. Does that include mail that we receive via postal snail mail? Or I just want to make sure that that includes all forms of correspondence.
Right, correct.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the items of correspondence that are spoken to within the procedure bylaw are items that were forwarded specifically to myself and requested to be included on the agenda. So other items that are received that are just sent for council's information without a specific request to be included on the agenda are dealt with under the council correspondence policy. So this is just speaking to items that have a specific request or intent to be placed on the agenda.
Okay, got it. I think that item also states that all petitions are placed on the consent agenda. Are there any exceptions to receiving petitions and not including them in a meeting of council?
Right, correct.
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no exceptions if the petition is submitted in the approved format under the council correspondence policy. So if they are forwarded in the complete and prescribed nature, they're not excluded and there's no exception. So I guess I should say that as long as the matter is within council's jurisdiction, it would be included.
Thank you. I can recall one incident where it was not allowed, so perhaps I'll follow up with the CAO regarding that just for more clarification. Thank you.
Yep. Mayor Girl, did you have a comment?
Yeah, just there's two 24.5s.
Administrative amendments.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any further questions from council? Not seeing any. I'm going to call the vote then. All those in favor? That is carried. All right, thanks, Brody. Moving on to bylaws, zoning bylaws, 12.1, bylaw 2025-075, zoning bylaw amendment Z09-25 for the Van Loo. Recommendation reads, whereas council has given consideration to a written comments submitted by the agencies in the decision on proposed zoning bylaw amendment application Z0925 for Elizabeth Van Loo in the estate of Cornelius Van Loo for lands located at 017111 Grey Bruce Line, Georgian Bluffs. And whereas council has considered oral submissions made at the public meeting, therefore it be resolved that council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs is satisfied that the proposed amendment is consistent with the provincial policy statement 2020 and other governing regulations, and that the bylaw 2025-075 be read the first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. I need a mover and a seconder. Councilor McComb, Councilor Winters. Michael, did you want to speak to this at all, or it's pretty straightforward?
To you, Deputy Mayor, I can. This is reflective of, in fact, this and the next one are both reflective of two severance applications that were recently held at the through the Committee of Adjustment regarding surplus farm land severances for the Van Loon properties.
Thank you. Discussion from council. I'm not seeing any hands up or on screen. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That's carried. 12.1.2 bylaw 2025-076 zoning bylaw amendment Z09-25 for 017111 Grey Bruce Line Van Loo. The severed portion recommendation reads, whereas council has given consideration to the written comments submitted by the agencies in the decision on proposed zoning bylaw amendment application Z0925 for Elizabeth Van Loo in the estate of Cornelius Van Loo for a parcel severed off lands located at 017111 Grey Bruce Line, Georgia Bluffs, and whereas council has considered all submissions made at the public meeting, therefore we resolve that council of the Township of Georgia Bluffs is satisfied with the proposed amendment is consistent with the provincial policy statement 2020 and other governing regulations, and that the bylaw 2025-076 be read the first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Bylaw book, need a mover and a seconder from the floor. Mayor Carlton, Councillor McComb. Michael has spoke to this basically already. We need to go through it again. I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. All right, 12.2 is 12.2.1 is the bylaw 2025-077. Stop up and close access road lot 21 and 22 concession 3 Georgian Bluffs. Recommendation reads that bylaw 2025-077 being a bylaw to authorize the stopping up and closing and transfer of the public highway located on lands described as lot 21 and 22 concession 3 37034-0105 LT Georgian Bluffs read a first, second, third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation and engrossed in the bylaw book. Michael, do you want to speak to this? Okay, Brittany?
If I may, through you, Mr. Chair, this is simply the bylaw that ratifies the staff report that we previously considered.
Perfect. Thank you. I don't think I got a mover or a seconder from the floor. Sorry.
Oh, I can put it, I can move it, put it on the floor. I have a question.
Did I put it? Did I get a move? It's okay. Councillor Day, I need a seconder. Put it on the floor. Councillor Winters, discussion, council.
I just noticed there's the draft access road license agreement in there as well, and I'm just reading to see if that is also part of the resolution that we're voting on tonight, and not seeing it in there, but would that draft road license agreement also be passed when we vote on this tonight?
Go ahead, Brittany.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, that's correct. That is the access agreement that permits the owner to continue to cross a closed municipal road allowance.
Councillor Winters.
Just one question on the recommendation. The word transfer is in there. Does authorize the stopping up and closing and transfer of a public highway. Are we transferring any property?
No, we'll chalk that up to an administrative.
Thank you.
Simply stopping up and closing.
Thank you.
Yep. Councillor Day.
And would, just to go back to the draft road license agreement again, would that draft road license agreement transition to a new owner should this owner sell that property?
That's correct.
Okay. And I noticed it's also for 10 years, and that's, would you mind explaining that decision about timeline?
Go ahead, Brittany.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I'm afraid I can't give much explanation other than that was what was negotiated between the two legal representatives.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Carlton, do you have a comment?
I do have a question. So where that road would come in off the highway, we're giving permission for the owner of that property to use that access road, but MTO cut the access at the highway. It's a hole in the ground. So is there going to be an expectation that anyone's putting a culvert in there to allow them to get to the access road? Okay, just as long as we're clear on that. Okay, thank you.
Good clarification. Any further comments from council? Not seeing any. I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. 12.2.2 is a bylaw 2025-078. 2026 fees and changes of bylaw. Recommendation reads that the bylaw 2025-078 being a bylaw for the imposition and collection of fees and charges for certain municipal services and activities be read the first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation and engrossed in the bylaw book. I need to move and a seconder to put on the floor. Councillor McComb, Mayor Carlton. Does anyone want to speak to this or? No, go ahead, Sam.
Thank you, and through you. So this is further to the staff report that was included on the October special council meeting where you received your preliminary budget information and discussed the projects. Included in that, we had various analysis around our user fees and what proposed rates should be for 2026. This is the bylaw to formally adopt those rates that the council had considered and approved and gave direction to formalize through bylaw.
Thank you, Samantha. Questions from council? Not seeing any, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Bylaw 12.2.3 is a bylaw 2025-079 is the 2026 to 2030 council remuneration policy. That the bylaw 2025-079 being a bylaw to adopt a council remuneration policy for the 2026-2030 council term and repeal bylaw 2021-088 and 2023-016. Be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation and engrossed in the bylaw book. I need a mover and a seconder to put on the floor. Everybody jump up at once. Councillor Winters, Mayor Carlton. Anybody want to speak to this? Or we all know what it's about, I think. So, hi, Councillor Govan.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt Chair Pringle. I have had some back and forth with our clerk today regarding this particular policy. I would like council to perhaps consider deferring this discussion till January. It appears to me that the materials and documents included in this agenda item are incomplete. And I just point specifically to the proposed base salary rates that the committee is recommending. Because the policy speaks directly to those payments, and because we've had some fundamental changes proposed by this remuneration committee regarding how we're being paid, I don't feel like I can support passing it at this time without having the amounts that the committee is recommending that we get paid as a base rate. And I don't know if it was an oversight on staff's part, or I don't think it matters that much. I don't think we're in a big hurry necessarily to have to approve this. I just feel like for transparency to the public, I don't believe that we ought to be approving the policy without that other document outlining the new base rates.
Thank you for
I just wonder how my council colleagues might feel about that.
Right, so you're putting a motion on the floor to defer this to a further date. You got the first. Is there a seconder for that motion? Councillor Day?
I still have a comment if I may.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I wouldn't mind, I feel like we did see this one document previously, and when it was presented to us through a delegation, and we had the opportunity to ask questions to the delegator, but we didn't really have a fulsome discussion about this report amongst ourselves at this point in time. So I would appreciate that opportunity as well. I have a question about the attendance at special events. And I do value the presence of council and mayor and deputy mayor at Remembrance Day ceremonies, and also wonder about the inclusion of that one day while not including other national holidays of importance to everyone, such as Canada Day or the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. So I just wouldn't mind having the opportunity to discuss this report a little further before making a final decision, which will be important in 2026, but not in January.
Thanks for those comments.
So the one comment I had about it, and I read through the policy, the revised policy twice. To me, I know what was presented to us and kind of put on the floor, that we would be changing from the current system to a salary with extra for the extra meetings that some of us attend. To me, the policy isn't really clear about that. I think for someone running in the next election, if they read this policy, it's not clearly stated exactly what the change is to the policy. It's kind of ambiguous. And I think I'd like to see it read a little more clearly exactly how the pay is going to be established. So I could be in favor of deferring this until January.
All right, well, we've got it on the floor, and Councillor A, were you going to second that motion?
Yes, I was.
I'll second the motion. So any further comments from
Councillor Coburn?
Councillor Coburn? Yep. Nope, okay. Any further comments? Oh, Carly?
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. The Council Remuneration Committee did ask me for an update on whether this policy was passed tonight. So I will be forwarding along that update to them just to let them know that it has been deferred. And if there is any appetite from council to have representation come to the meeting, it will be scheduled to come back. I'm more than happy to arrange that as well. So they can answer any specific questions about the policy, as that committee are the ones that drafted that.
Okay, so any further comments from council? We do have a motion on the floor to defer it. And if there's no further discussion, we'll call a vote for deferring the motion. All those in favor? That is carried. We have to do the main motion again, Carrie, or are we good? We're good? Okay. Thank you. All right, 12.2.4 is the bylaw 2025-080, is amendment procedure bylaw for combined committee of the whole and committee meeting structure. Recommendation reads a bylaw 2025-080 being a bylaw to amend procedure bylaw 2019-125, be read a first, second, third time, finally passed, signed with the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. I need to move in a second, put on the floor. Councillor Coburn, Councillor McComb. Do we need any more discussion on this? Go ahead, Carly.
Thank you for your chair. Just to note that I will make those amendments as council brought up under the staff.
Thank you. Discussion from council. Not seeing it, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. 12.2.5 is a bylaw 2025-081 Cobble Beach Phase 3 Reservice Agreement. Recommendation reads that bylaw 2025-081 being a bylaw to authorize a pre-servicing agreement with Cobble Villas Incorporated for the development of Cobble Beach Phase 3, having received draft plan approval as file 42T-2022-010. Be read the first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed with the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. I need to move in a second, put on the floor. Carlton, Councillor McComb, did you want to speak to this at all, Michael, or go ahead?
I can briefly. This is reflecting the earlier this item under the Committee of the Whole reports. I didn't give you that number. And with the passing of this bylaw, sorry, that was item 11.1.1.5. The passing of this bylaw will now allow the, should the bylaw be passed, would allow the County of Grey to issue approvals under their forest management bylaw to allow GVI, Cobble Beach Development, to continue on with the clearing grooming activities that were started earlier in November.
Thank you. Questions from council? Any questions? Not seeing any. I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. All right, we're on to unfinished business, which we have none tonight. We do have some new business, municipally owned lands inventory. Further to notice provided by Councillor Kathleen Corbin at the November 12th, 2025 meeting. Recommendation reads, whereas council does not have details about all municipally owned lands, and whereas council could consider these lands for sale or for future redevelopment, Therefore, the council directs staff to provide a report in the first quarter of 2026 that includes as an inventory of all municipal lands, their current zoning status and potential further uses. I'm going to move it for a second, put it on the floor. Councillor Colburn, Councillor Day, and I'll turn it over to Councillor Colburn.
So thank you, Chair Pringle. I think it speaks for itself, but I do wonder if my wording in the last therefore clause is a bit inaccurate. I've asked for an inventory of all municipal lands. I wonder if I should be repeating municipally owned lands. If that's clear enough for staff, I'm happy to leave it the way it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. That's certainly clear. We would understand that would be all lands owned by a corporation, Georgian Bus.
Thank you. You're good, Councillor Colburn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Carl.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My question there would be all municipally owned lands, because my understanding is that would include all road allowances, all unopened road allowances. Is that the level of detail we want to go to? Because that's going to be an enormous report, or do we want those smaller lots and pieces? And do we need to clarify that we're not including the unopened road allowances and such?
Thank you for that. Councillor Colburn.
Thank you, Mayor Carlton. That's indeed what I intended, not for it to be a huge onerous report. It's I was just looking for it to focus on land that we own and have acquired and could be doing something potentially with that land.
Thank you. CEO Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the comments and thank you for the clarification. I just want to make sure that we're coming back with what you intend. So what I'd imagined was that we would go through, and happy to hear it's not road allowances. That would make the task extremely onerous. But I think our intention is to go through and look at all of the property and bring it back a list of municipally owned land and the current zoning status. So we'll probably have it split out by zoning type, and we'll bring that back to you without a whole lot of individual report on each place, but rather just a list of all the properties. And then once you have a look at that and the zoning status, we can see what we would do from there, or what the next conversation would be, if that suits.
Thank you, CAO. Councillor Day.
Thank you for bringing this forward. I would be pleased to see this information more readily accessible for council and community. I have a question about the second line, whereas council could consider these lands for sale or future redevelopment. I'm curious about how the word redevelopment is intended here, because development is often associated with buildings and human development. And it is, the way it's written, I interpret that as consider all these lands for sale or future redevelopment, which perhaps some of those lands are better suited for conservation or park purposes, and maybe parks fits, like natural areas fits into the redevelopment as intended, but I just wondered about the intention behind the wording for sentence, or that second part of the motion.
Councillor Colburn.
Thank you, Councillor Day. And clearly, I ought to have taken more time in considering my wording, so apologies for that. And yes, my intention is for it to be in the purest, broadest sense of development or redevelopment, not specifically about housing or anything residential necessarily. So it was meant to include all options.
Thank you. Mayor Carl.
Just as a suggestion then, instead of having or for future development, if it was, whereas council could consider these lands for sale or their potential future use, which would open it up to other things.
Councillor Colburn.
happy to change it. I feel like we're heading down the syntax hole here, perhaps unnecessarily, but I absolutely am happy to have the wording changed in that manner.
Certainly do that. My ask would be, I think staff understands what the task is we're asking at hand here right now. Do we need to make an amendment to change the wording of her?
Through your chair, I don't believe we actually have a mover and seconder, so.
Did I not get that
Yeah,
far
we
again?
do, Councillor Coburn, Councillor.
Oh.
Sorry, must have missed
I'm
it.
not chairing anymore.
Through you, so if everybody's happy to and will indulge me on a formal amendment to the notice, I can read back sort of what I've captured, and if everybody's okay with that, then we can adopt it through a formal amendment. So whereas council does not have details about all municipally owned lands with the exception of road allowances, and whereas council could consider these lands for future sale or for future potential uses, therefore council directs staff to provide a report in the first quarter of 2026 that includes all inventory of municipally owned lands and their current zoning status and zone usage, or permitted uses.
So we need to move her in second or then to put that on the floor again. Councillor Coburn, Councillor Day, you're second. I'm gonna, any comment or any questions, comments? Call the vote, all those in favor? Okay, thank you. And back to the main motion. We have to vote on it and get back to the main motion then. Any further discussion on the main motion that was presented? Not seeing any comments. Call the vote, all those in favor? That is carried. All right, notice of motion, notice of discussion. Does any member wish to provide a notice of motion or a notice of discussion for inclusion on the next council agenda? Seeing any? All right, we're going to go into closed session here. That the Council of Township of Georgian Bluffs move into closed session at 7:01. Do we want to take a break for 5 minutes or 10 minutes? Okay. So I'm going to say we're going to move into closed session for 7:15. Is that all right? That gives us 10 minutes. In the Sarawak room with the Chief Administrative Officer, Director of Development and Infrastructure, Manager of Engineering and Infrastructure, the Manager of Legislative Services, clerk, meeting in the room to discuss 16.1, a position plan procedure critical for instruction to be applied to any negotiation carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, section 239-2, section K, and the Municipal Act 2001 Water Services Negotiation. And 16.2, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality of local board, section 239-2, section E, the Municipal Act 2001, OLT application Z02/25. I need a mover and seconder to close session. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Through your chair, I apologize. I have just received a note just with respect to a change for the staff who will be joining us in closed session.
Yep.
So the Manager of Engineering and Infrastructure will not be joining us, and staff are requesting the addition of the Deputy CAO/Director of Corporate Services and the Strategic Initiatives Officer.
Thank you. Do we need to make a change anywhere? You just hit perfect. Need a mover and seconder, put that on the floor. Councillor McComb, Councillor Winters. Discussion? Not seeing discussion, we'll call the vote then. All in favor? Okay, 7:15.
We are Dirk and Alma DeVries, and we are coming to you from Dual Acres. This is a beautiful property in Georgian Bluffs that we own, and we run horse-drawn sleigh and carriage rides from.
So today we're going to have Dan and Juliet. Dan's a 12-year-old gelding, Juliet's a 12-year-old mare. One Dan. When people come here, we invite them to come back to our shack. And they will go in there and they can get ready to go, get dressed, whatever they need to do, and stay warm till the ride starts. And then we bring the horses out of this sleigh shed here, and they get on, and we take them for a 40-minute ride, all through hardwood and softwood bushes. So the whole experience is in woods. We return here, we drop them off here, they can go in, and there's a big wood stove in there, they warm up, and if they so desire, they can also enjoy a cup of hot chocolate. We build all our own sleighs, and there's a reason for that. Sleighs in Ontario came with a width of stance, the runner width of 3 feet, and that was designed to work in the bush and whatnot. But a 3-foot stance is very tippy when you get people. People are like hauling water. There's always a second motion. And that second motion is the motion that will tip the sleighs. So I rebuild all the sleighs to a 4-foot wide stance. And that's very stable. You cannot tip them. Our sleighs are also adaptable to handle wheelchairs. Which we discovered early. There was that need there, that disabilities need that we needed to provide.
We've done lots of charity work. We did Santa sleigh ride here on the farm. That actually helped really for people to be aware that we were here. But we always have a passion, especially for children with special needs. That was one way that we were able to give back to the community. Every year we host a ride here for the GRACE program, which is the Georgian Riding Association for Challenged Equestrians.
Horses and dogs are exactly the same. If you want the horse or the dogs to go right, you say G. If you want to go left, you say haw. I've done thousands of rides, and I never get tired of it because it's the horses that are the enjoyment. And the people are we have people from all over, and there's so many different stories, and so many good people out there that you meet.
I hope that when people come to our farm here and enjoy a sleigh or wagon ride through the bush, that they enjoy the bush, the beauty of nature here, and just go away feeling relaxed and rejuvenated.
The Welcome Package is a tool that was developed by GBLIP's subcommittee community. It was a tool that was supposed to be used for municipalities to share information with new residents, specifically immigrants coming to their communities, in a consistent way across Grey and Bruce counties. And what's great about it is the package was actually translated into multiple different languages.
As my own personal lived experience as an immigrant, not everything was accessible to me with the click of my hand. But the welcome package, if you look at the municipality website, all the information that you need about the schools, about the local hospitals, about the local grocery stores, about the service provider in your area. So I think it is a one-stop shop for all your settlement needs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly.
We started Farm on the Lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today.
Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing. I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazingly relaxing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's
There's never ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water. If you're into water sports or sailing. Of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent at Georgian Bluffs.
People are genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature, having the escarpment to hike, and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep. It's something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact that I can connect with my neighbours, see them on the street, say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day. It's something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly. And a lot of the locals come here every single day, and they think of it as their therapy.
We're the Farouk family. We started Farm on the Lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure. The township has actually made us to who we are today. And now that we have this set up, this whole operation is well received by the community. People drive down from far away to do camping with us.
A lot of people come from far away to see the goats, and they're really amazed. Sometimes we feed the babies in front of them.
When we think about Georgian Bluffs, it's really the Reiki forest bathing that comes to my mind. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and we were looking to bring our people for a retreat, and this property just popped up, and we realized that behind is a beautiful forest. Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water. If you're into water sports or sailing. And of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists,
the trails and so many great things to do, and lots of business opportunity here, and tourism as well to support our business.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Another thing too that I noticed from living through here is all the small communities throughout Georgian Bluffs. They're very unique, and they might be very small, but we're very big of heart. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent at Georgian Bluffs.
People are genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something. The township of Georgian Bluffs as a municipality is proud to serve its residents, whether it be looking after infrastructure, looking after our roads, grading our gravel roads, looking after our parks, our trails, our community centres, our ice arena, or providing the services that residents rely on every single day when they come to our township offices. I'm proud to lead a team which is here serving the residents of Georgian Bluffs every single day.
what we'd like to see Georgian Bluffs going forward is really, more people come in to experience this beautiful energy, this relaxed energy. Because over here in Georgian Bluffs, I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazingly relaxing.
Welcoming more people, yet with the same foundation principles of community, of respect, and of moral.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
I hope to see more local businesses, more sustainable living, and more families just moving up here and living and prospering off their land and their property.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature, having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours, see them on the street, say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
We are Dirk and Alma DeVries, and we are coming to you from Dual Acres. This is a beautiful property in Georgian Bluff that we own, and we run horse-drawn sleigh and carriage rides from.
So today we're going to have Dan and Juliet. Dan's a 12-year-old gelding. Juliet's a 12-year-old mare. One Dan. When people come here, we invite them to come back to our shack, and we'll get in there and they can get ready to go, get dressed, whatever they need to do, and stay warm till the ride starts. And then we bring the horses out of this sleigh shed here, and they get on, and we take them roughly for a 40-minute ride, all through hardwood and softwood bushes. So the whole experience is in woods. We return here, we drop them off here, they can go in, there's a big wood stove in there, they warm up, and if they so desire, they could also enjoy a cup of hot chocolate. We build all our own sleighs, and there's a reason for that, is sleighs in Ontario came with a width of stance with a runner width of 3 feet, and that was designed to work in the bush and whatnot. But a 3-foot stance is very tippy when you get people. People are like hauling water. There's always a second motion. And that second motion is the motion that'll tip the sleighs. So I rebuild all the sleighs to a 4-foot wide stance. And that's very stable. You cannot tip them. Our sleighs are also adaptable to handle wheelchairs. Which we discovered earlier. There was that need there that people with disabilities need that we needed to provide.
We've done lots of charity work. We did Santa sleigh ride here on the farm. That actually helped really for people to be aware that we were here. But we always have a passion, especially for children with special needs. That was one way that we were able to give back to the community. Every year we host a ride here for the GRACE program, which is the Georgian Riding Association for Challenged Equestrians.
Horses and dogs are exactly the same. If you want the horse or the dogs to go right, you say G. If you want to go left, you say ha. I've done thousands of rides, and I never get tired of it because it's the horses that are the enjoyment. And the people are we have people from all over, and there's so many different stories, and so many good people out there that you meet.
I hope that when people come to our farm here and enjoy a sleigh or wagon ride through the bush, that they enjoy the bush, the beauty of nature here, and just go away feeling relaxed and rejuvenated.
The Welcome Package is a tool that was developed by GB-LIT's subcommittee community. It was a tool that was supposed to be used for municipalities to share information with new residents, specifically immigrants coming to their communities, in a consistent way across Grey and Bruce counties. And what's great about it is the package was actually translated into multiple different languages.
As my own personal lived experience as an immigrant, not everything was accessible to me with the click of my hand. But the welcome package, if you look at the municipality website, all the information that you need about the schools, about the local hospitals, about the local grocery stores, about the settlement service provider in your area. So I think it is a one-stop shop for all your settlement needs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly.
We started Farm on the Lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today.
Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing. I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazingly relaxing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's
there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water. If you're into water sports or sailing. Of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very important here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature. Having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours, see them on the street, say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly. And a lot of the locals come here every single day and they think of it as their therapy.
We're the Fruit family. We started farm on the lake, and the community, everybody around us, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today. And now that we have this set up, this whole operation is well received by the community. People drive down from far away to do camping with us.
A lot of people come from far away to see the goats, and they're really amazed. Sometimes we feed the babies in front of them.
When we think about Georgian Bluffs, it's really the Reiki forest bathing that comes to my mind. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and we were looking to bring our people for a retreat, and this property just popped up, and we realized that behind is a beautiful forest. Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water. If you're into water sports or sailing. And of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists,
the trails, and so many great things to do, and lots of business opportunity here, and tourism as well to support our business.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Another thing too that I noticed from living through here is all the small communities throughout Georgian Bluffs. They're very unique, and they might be very small, but we're very big of heart. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very important here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
The township of Georgian Bluffs as a municipality is proud to serve its residents, whether it be looking after infrastructure, looking after our roads, grading our gravel roads, looking after our parks, our trails, our community centres, our ice arena, or providing the services that residents rely on every single day when they come to our township offices. I'm proud to lead a team which is here serving the residents of Georgian Bluffs every single day.
what we'd like to see Georgian Bluffs going forward is really more people coming to experience this beautiful energy, this relaxed energy. Because over here in Georgian Bluffs, I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazingly relaxing.
Welcoming more people, yet with the same foundation and principles of community, of respect, and of moral.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
I hope to see more local businesses, more sustainable living, and more families just moving up here and living and prospering off their land and their property.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature, having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep. It's something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours, see them on the street, say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day. It's something which for me, it's something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
All right, we're back in open session here. Council went into closed session under open meeting exemption K and E of the section 239-2 of the Municipal Act 2001. As a result, in closed session discussion, the following actions were taken. 16.1, direction was provided to staff to be applied to ongoing water service negotiations. 16.2, direction was provided to staff and legal counsel to be applied to appeal of zoning bylaw application Z02-25 for the Ontario Land Tribunal. Confirming bylaw, recommendation reads that bylaw number 2025-082 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of December the 3rd, 2025, be read the first, second, and third time. Finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. I need a mover and a seconder. Councilor Winters, Councilor McComb, discussion. Going to call the vote. All those in favor? You can see Kathy in the corner there. We're good. That is carried. And adjournment. Council will meet as regular scheduled on January the 7th, 2025 at 5 p.m. If there is no further business, I will now call for adjournment of this meeting. The recommendation reads that this meeting be adjourned at 8:22 p.m. I need a mover and a seconder. Mayor Carlton, Councilor McComb, discussion. I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? All right, that is carried. Thank you. We are now adjourned. Happy holidays and see you in the new year.